Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Let's Move Austin. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, Teresa Bastian.
Hello, Chris. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Yes, today, Teresa, today, and today only, we're talking about what happens at closing when buying or selling a home in Austin.
Well, Chris, I'm glad you asked because it occurred to me when you've been doing real estate a long time, like I have, oftentimes I try not to fall into it too many times, but I think this might be one where I fall into the habit of just assuming people know what I'm talking about. You know, it's time to book your closing appointment. And people dutifully pick a time on the calendar, but it occurred to me, I'm not sure that everybody knows what's exactly happening on that day. Right. So I thought we could break that down a little bit instead of it being a mystery appointment.
I love it. Let's do that.
Okay.
Where do we start?
What do you want to
start? Okay. Well, I want to know it all. I want to know it all.
Okay. Well, let's divide it into whether you're buying or selling because the process is a little different based on which side of the transaction you're on. So which would you like to learn about?
I would like to start with buyers.
Okay.
Start with buyers.
So, Chris, if I represent you in the purchase of a home, one of the things that's going to happen immediately before closing is going to be, we're going to schedule a time that we can go to the property and do a final walkthrough.
Okay.
Usually, let's say the evening before closing.
Got it. Okay. Yep. That's perfect.
Would you like to know why?
Yeah. Yes. Why do we do that?
Because it's too late to remeasure and decide you don't want the house. Okay. What we're doing is we're making sure the property is in the condition we expect it to be. Because by now the sellers will have moved all their stuff out. Right. We want to make sure they didn't, leave a big hole in the wall behind where a piece of artwork had been, or scratch the wood floors on their way out, or take a chunk out of the stairway as they, muscle things down the stairs. Right. We're also making sure they didn't leave a bunch of stuff behind that you don't want to end up with.
Right. Right. And I've heard horror stories. I've even seen pictures on Facebook of sellers doing repairs that are like janky repairs. They're like not even up to code. This
right. Like the paint doesn't match. They touched up the paint, but it's, paint from 7 years ago. So it doesn't match anymore. Yeah. It's something weird. It all happens. And that's why it's so important to do the walkthrough. Yeah. I really prefer my buyer clients be there in person, but if they can't arrange it for their schedules or they're out of town, I will always do a walkthrough just to avoid any potential disappointment. Even if it's something silly, like they just left one more load of stuff in the garage. Well, what time exactly are they coming for it? Because I don't want that to crisscross with my buyers moving in the next day. Right. So it's important to have that walkthrough. So I really consider that the beginning of the buyer's closing.
Okay, good. Yep, that's beautiful.
So got that handled. If there is damage, what we'll do is negotiate with the sellers to make it right. Okay, so that's what happens if. But let's say the point. What?
I was thinking too, like, this is why in your inspections, it's really important how you write what you're asking the seller to fix, because if you don't say it the right way, the seller can, technically fix it. And then you go do your final walkthrough and you're like, this isn't what I meant. This is terrible.
Well, if there were a bunch of repair items that were agreed to on the inspection, I would probably have written that so they were done a week or maybe 5 days before closing. So I could have checked that already.
Perfect.
So the very final walkthrough is really just going to show like things that might have happened during move out.
Yeah, but you say that, but you're, this is one of those things where like you just think it's obvious, but you're a very seasoned veteran agent, right? Like you're really good at what you do. And I know there's a lot of agents who wouldn't even do the final walkthrough, a walkthrough period, let alone an inspection walkthrough and then a final walkthrough.
Well, that's actually what occurred to me about making this a topic for the video, because I just represented some clients who sold a house here in Austin and bought a new construction. And they did not, they sold a house in another part of Texas before buying this one. And they didn't, I didn't know them when they bought this one, but they didn't get to do a final walkthrough. And they were just saying like how much of a difference that would have made. Yep. So that's kind of what made me think maybe we should spell this out a little bit more.
That's good. So what happens after the final walkthrough? Let's say everything's good.
Everything's fine. Then your closing appointment will have already been scheduled. Okay. In Texas, we close real estate transactions at title companies. So the title company will already have that on their books. And I try to attend every one of my closings. If I can't attend it for some reason, I will reach out to that client ahead of time. And depending on their comfort level, I may ask one of my colleagues to go in my place. If they've bought and sold a bunch of property, we'll already have seen the paperwork ahead of time. They're fine. But it's a fun thing to do. I like to be at all of them. So you can expect that. And we show up at the title company. They generally have, coffee or snacks or drinks, not drinks. So if you want champagne, you can bring it.
Right.
I've been known to do that occasionally. Kind of depends on the client.
Yeah.
But we'll show up there. They have, big conference rooms. I always tell my clients with kids, you're welcome to bring them. It's up to you, how distracting you'll be. But kids are fine at them. On the buyer side, you're going to need to bring a cashier's check with the amount that they've already told you for your down payment, whatever you need to put down.
Right.
So you'll want to have that from the bank already. You can't write a personal check. And you have to have a valid ID, not an expired ID. So that can sometimes trip people up.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So then we sit down and there's a giant stack of papers for buyers. Generally, buyers do have loans and the mortgage companies require things to be signed. I swear it's the same document written 5 different ways. So you're just going to, loosen that hand up and you're going to sign for probably 45 minutes.
Yeah, right. No kidding. Yeah, I remember my hand being tired signing loan papers for sure.
Yeah, normally I recommend for a buyer to, give yourself an hour for the appointment because it can take a little while.
Got it. Okay, good. So we sign the big stack of papers.
You hand over your money.
Hand over that cashier's check.
You might think, I'll get my keys right now and start moving in.
Right. That's
Maybe I took the day off work to do this. Oh, wait.
Wait.
You might have signed at 9 a.m., but the sellers might not be signing till 4 p.m., in which case the title company is going to hold on to your money. They're not going to give it to the sellers until they sign.
Right.
But until the sellers sign and it gets recorded, you don't actually own the property yet. So you need to talk to your realtor about the timing of things and your expectations. Sometimes I'll recommend, sign the papers on a Wednesday. Don't plan on starting to move till Friday.
Right.
Give yourself that buffer where you're not calling every 30 minutes. Is it mine yet? Is it mine yet?
Yeah, I remember in Washington, is it different in Texas where in Washington, we would typically sign a day or two before we'd actually get keys. Is it the same?
Yeah, no, it's usually the same day.
Okay.
There's a nice thing. A lot of people are concerned, with all the craziness of moving, they're going to get there and maybe that someone's going to slip something in front of them to sign that isn't right. But we get all of the closing settlement statement, the final HUD, we get that 3 days before closing. So I will already have reviewed it. The title company will already have reviewed it. We may have caught a mistake and fixed it already before it is sent to you. So by the time you get there, you should be pretty comfortable that it's just a chill, fun, I've already seen this. Kind of the money part is already settled, in other words.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And then anything else on the buy? So I sign, and then once the seller signs as the buyer, then what does the
You'll coordinate with me, your buyer's agent, to get the keys.
Got it. Okay.
It's a variety. It's really up to the sellers, right? Because just because you sign the papers doesn't mean they have your money yet. It's got to be, cash to the title company and then wired to their bank. And there's, we don't know exactly how long every bank is going to take. So we don't know exactly how long. I try to have people sign before noon. Then it's almost certain the money's going to transfer the same day. If somebody signs late in the day, 4 or 4:30, money might not transfer till the next day.
Right.
So it's a case-by-case basis. We need to communicate about that.
Yep.
But basically, the seller might just hide a key on the property. The seller's agent may have said, I could take the key out and just hold on to it till we get word that the funding happened, and then I can give the key to you. And so we might just leave it at the title company so that when, you go have lunch and maybe hit the grocery store, and then you can come back and get it. But again, there's a lot that's a case-by-case basis. We just need to have communication about it.
Perfect. Okay, good. Anything else about the buy side on closing, or is that takes care of buyers?
That is everything. No, just kidding. If you can think of another question, you guys type it in.
Right, right. Yeah, because I think it feels thorough.
What do you wish I had told you before your closing, all you past clients?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. Or if you're about to buy, and we didn't answer the question, what other questions do you still have?
Absolutely. Yeah. That pretty much covers the buyer side.
Okay.
If you're selling a home, you're actually going to have about half as much work, because the stack of papers to sign doesn't include a bunch of stuff from a mortgage company.
Right.
So I generally recommend sellers, you only need to plan about a half hour for your appointment, which is nice.
Yeah, that is good. Perfect.
You do need to bring your valid ID that's not expired. You need to bring your wiring instructions. In almost every case, you're going to make money on the sale of your home. Okay. Almost every case.
Yep.
So we need to know where the title company can send that money.
So typically a routing number and an account number. Yeah.
That's right. And some banks have a different, like the numbers that are printed on your check might be different for wiring. So we need to confirm that the numbers you're giving are for wiring.
Pro tip right there. Pro tip. Good. Okay.
Yeah. You don't want your money just wandering around cyberspace.
Yeah. Right. Okay, good. Perfect.
And pretty much that is it on the seller side. It's much easier.
Yeah, no kidding. The escrow company, title company will do all the deductions for whatever's owed to the mortgage company, excise tax, any of the stuff that happens.
Really great question. Yes, they will prorate the taxes as of the exact day of closing.
Got it.
So you don't have to make your tax bill. And they will pay off your mortgage or any other liens that have been attached to the property.
Right.
We will already have worked on that throughout the transaction when we did the title search.
Yep.
Another fun fact, if you do, as a seller, let's say you've had a mortgage on that property and maybe you've had an escrow account. So in other words, your mortgage company has paid your taxes and your insurance.
Yep.
We recommend that you contact that mortgage company and make sure they know where to send your escrow account refund.
Got it.
Let's say they've been saving up, money to pay your taxes at the end of the year, but now they're not going to need to make that whole payment. So there could be as little as $50. There could be as a couple grand in there.
Right. Yeah.
Depending on where in the year we close. So you want to make sure they know not to send it to the house you just sold.
Yeah.
Then your check will be lost.
Do we call that a compound account? I can't remember.
We call it an escrow account.
Escrow account. Okay. Yeah. Good. Beautiful.
I think it can also be called an impound account, but
maybe impound account.
Compound. Compound interest.
How about, maybe that's where they came from. Perfect. Okay. Yes. I love it. So anything else as a seller that I would need to know in the closing process?
Pretty much. I always like to make sure to remind my sellers that everything you own should be out of the house before closing. So that's just a good idea. Please don't plan on, we'll sign the papers at 10 and I'll go back for one more load.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the way it works out. I know, but ideally you'll want to have that already done. But sometimes there are really tricky situations and problems that happen. And I would say whether you're the buyer or the seller, don't hide from your realtor that you might be having trouble, because nobody came to help you lift that one couch.
Right.
It's better to be upfront about it.
Yeah, because I was thinking when you were going through the buyer side of things, like, signing is like the buyer's last piece of accountability. Like if they don't sign, you as the seller don't get the check. Like that's real. That's real. I've
never, knock on wood, had it where a buyer just refused to sign.
Yeah.
But buyers, they can get jumpy too. Especially when real estate's such a hot topic like it is in Austin. They may be 2 weeks into the process of buying a house, but they're still looking at other neighborhoods to make sure they did the right thing. So you want to, make the end of the transaction, you want to tie it up with a neat little bow and make it smooth, make everybody feel good.
Right.
So we don't want buyers walking in to find stuff that doesn't look like it's going to be gotten out. Right. We don't want sellers, taking it lightly. Right. I mean, it is a big transition for everybody and everybody's stressed out.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I think, what I'm gathering from what you're saying, and just because I know you, like, when working with you through the process, yeah. Well, no, you just before you ever get to that table, Teresa will have prepped you for all of that. So, we're covering this here because you don't know Teresa, or maybe this is your first time buying or selling a house, but ultimately, if you're working with a good agent, you'll know all this before you ever get to the closing.
Right. And there should be no big word thrown around by your realtor that you don't understand. It's like if people are asking you, hey, make your appointment for closing, it's okay to say what exactly happens there. What does it mean?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I love that. Sometimes we pretend
let's go close some houses.
Yeah. Let's go close some houses, people. Let's move, Austin. Let's move. Let's go. All right, Teresa, great stuff. If people want to reach out to you, connect with you to find out about buying or selling a house in Austin, where do they go?
You can call me or text me, 512-297-3442. My website is letsmoveaustin.com, and I think my email is on the screen.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Teresa. Great stuff today. See you next time.
Thanks, Chris. Bye.
Bye.